There's a 42-foot bluewater ketch sitting on the hard in Bellingham, Washington this morning, with a for sale sign gone soft in the rain. She's asking $68,000. 2 years ago, she'd have been $110,000. Her owner has cut the price 3 times she's sound from the keel up, and she has made real ocean passages and come home again. She still hasn't sold. Nothing is wrong with that boat. No rot, no blisters, no soft deck, no smile in the keel joint, no story the surveyor is going to find, and no invoice hiding under the sole. She'll go to sea tomorrow if you point her at it. And she sits there anyway, shedding $1,000 a month in the rain, because the thing driving her price down has almost nothing to do with the boat and almost everything to do with who's left to buy her. 40-foot sailboats, the size that's supposed to be the sweet spot, big enough to go and small enough for 2 people to run, are getting cheaper right now than they've been in a generation. And most buyers have the reason exactly backwards. 30 years of saltwater on my hands, a lot of it offshore, and I have never watched this many good 40-footers change hands for this little money. So today, 6 of them, and the real reason each one is cheap. I'll give you the price, the mechanism, and the number that actually matters. One of them I'm going to defend, because the market is punishing her for the one thing that ought to make her worth more. And the boat that tells the whole story, I saved for last. Let's get into them. First, understand what's actually happening, because the salesman with the financing brochure will never explain it to you. He's still walking couples onto something white and new, selling headroom and a drop-down transom and a payment that fits between the mortgage and the grandkids. He gets paid the day you sign. What he doesn't mention is the machine working against every 40-footer already floating. Boats built in the 80s and 90s are now 25, 30, 40 years old, and the insurers have gone back through their books and gotten cold on exactly that age. Lenders quietly cap the hull age they'll finance, often around 15 to 20 years, so the buyer who needs a loan can't touch these boats at all. And the couples who actually cruised 40-footers for the last 30 years are in their 70s now, and they are all selling at once into a market where the buyers behind them either want something smaller they can single-hand or a catamaran that doesn't heel. On the bigger cruising boats, the average one now sits about 170 days before it moves, and the price gets cut along the way. That's a squeezed market. And a squeezed market is the best friend a patient buyer ever had. We start at number 6, the Beneteau Oceanis, the 40-foot French production cruiser of the 1990s and early 2000s. You'll find a tired one asking in the 40s and a sorted one past 90, and either way, she's been for sale a while. Here's why she's soft. Beneteau built an ocean of them, and a great many went straight into charter fleets, 20 weeks a year of strangers learning to sail on her, so the supply is deep, the histories are thin, and the parts, the sail drive bits, the hardware, come from Europe on a European clock. She was drawn as a coastal boat, and she's an honest coastal boat. The trouble is, she wears a 40-foot price, while 1,000 of her sisters sit on the same listings pages. When the market softens, the boat there's 1,000 of softens first. You're buying one of many, and the market prices it like it. Number 5, the Ericson 38, and now we're talking about a real boat that nobody's brand is left to sell. Bruce King drew her, and King drew boats of near-perfect proportion. The man belongs on a short list with Herreshoff and Rhodes. Ericson built roughly 300 of these in California through the 80s, a fin-keeled sloop that sails like she's on rails and looks right from every angle on the dock. You'll see them from the high 20s to the low 50s, which is throwaway money for a boat this good. And here's the mechanism. Ericson is gone. Pacific Seacraft bought the molds decades ago, and the name faded out. There's no factory, no dealer, no brochure, nobody on earth whose paycheck depends on telling you she's special. A Hinckley holds its money partly because Hinckley is still there to answer the phone. Nobody's answering for Ericson. So a lovely, quick, well-built 38-footer gets priced like a used car, purely because the company that made her stopped existing. Meter the decks around the chain plates before you buy. They're balsa cord and 40 years old. Then buy the boat nobody's left to brag about. Number 4, the Hunter Passage 42, and this is the boat the salesman's whole pitch is built on. 14 feet of beam, a walk-in aft cabin, a stainless arch over the cockpit, air conditioning, a genset, 2 heads, and a brochure that called her bluewater capable. Hunter built her through the 90s as a production boat that lived like a 50-footer, and they sold them by the 100. You'll find them today from the 50s into the 90s drifting down. The mechanism is everything that sold her. Every one of those systems, the air conditioning, the genset, the electric winches, the refrigeration, is a service interval with a technician's hourly rate attached, and they're all 30 years old at once. She was sold as a passage maker and priced like a dream, and now the dream is a stack of aging systems that the next buyer has to either fix or feed. The boat that promises you the most at the dock is usually the one that asks the most of you after. Now here's the one I'll defend, because the market has this boat exactly upside down. Number 3, the Freedom 40, the cat-catch Gary Hoyt dreamed up back in 1976 with Halsey Harrishoff and built at Tillotson and Pearson in Rhode Island. 2 freestanding masts, wishbone booms, no jib, a shoal hull with a centerboard, and a look that makes people at the dock tilt their heads. You'll find one from the low 40s to the mid-70s, and most buyers walk right past because she's strange. Listen to what strange actually buys you. Every other boat in this video, every boat on this channel, carries a clock in the rig, wire that's finished at 10 to 15 years and costs $6,000 to $10,000 to replace on a 40-footer. The exact bill an insurer and a surveyor circle first. The Freedom has no standing rigging. None. No wire, no swages, no turnbuckles, no chain plates weeping into the deck, and no rig age question on the insurance form, because there is no rig age. The masts stand on their own the way a tree does. Hoyt built her that way on purpose, to buy you freedom from the one bill I harp on in every single one of these. Families have taken these across the Atlantic and back, and the market marks her down for it. Now the honest half, because I promised it. The rig is unusual, so a rigger and a sailmaker who understand it are worth finding, and those wishbone sails aren't off the shelf. Check the mast bearing down at the partners, and know she won't point like a modern sloop going to weather, but you are looking at a proven 40-foot ocean boat with the single most expensive recurring bill in sailing designed clean out of her. The market calls that weird. I call it a discount on the one thing nobody else can discount. If that's the kind of straight talk the man with the brochure will never hand you, do me a favor before the last 2, tap that like button, then hit subscribe. I put one of these out every couple of days, and there's always another boat worth pulling apart. Number 2, the Whitby 42, the boat from the top of this video. Ted Brewer drew her in 1971 for Whitby Boatworks up in Ontario, a center cockpit staysail ketch with a full keel, a skeg-hung rudder, a bowsprit, and an aft cabin you could live in for a decade. 23,000 pounds of honest cruising boat, 210 gallons of fuel, and a comfort motion that puts you to sleep in weather that has lighter boats' crews wearing their breakfast. She's crossed every ocean there is, and clean ones now sit anywhere from the high 50s to just over 100, with the price coming down while they wait. Here's why a boat this capable is this cheap. She's a ketch, so that's 2 rigs of standing wire, not 1, and 2 rigs is 2 rigging bills. She carries big tankage, a real engine room, systems everywhere, all of it 40 years old. And she is a lot of boat for 2 aging people to run, which is precisely the couple who used to buy her. That couple now buys a catamaran that doesn't heel, or nothing at all. So a genuine ocean crossing 42, a boat that cost as much as a house when she was new, sits on the hard-asking, less than a tired coastal 35. Not because she's failing, because she's 42 feet, 40 years old, and the line of people who wanted exactly her has thinned to almost nobody. That's the whole video in one hull. The boat didn't get worse. The room she sits in got emptier. And that brings us to number 1. the boat that tells you where all of this is going, the Tartan 40. Sparkman and Stevens drew her, the same firm behind the Swan 44 we've sat with before on this channel, and Tartan built just 72 of them in Ohio in the mid-80s, a keel centerboarder that draws under 5 feet with the board up and claws to windward with it down. Solid where it counts, beautifully balanced, a real passage maker with an S&S pedigree. For years, you almost never saw one for sale. Owners knew what they had, and they held on, and a loaded one asked $150,000 and got it. Here's what's changed, and it's the quiet engine under this entire video. That generation of owners is aging out. The boats they swore they'd never sell are coming onto the market now all at once, and the old prices don't hold anymore, because the buyers who'd pay them are gone. For the first time in decades, an S&S 40 is a boat an ordinary person can actually buy, and buy well under what she's worth. The centerboard pennant is a maintenance item. Ask when it was last serviced, and the rig wants doing at 40 years. Price both in, and you've bought a blue chip boat at the bottom of her curve. She's not getting cheap because she got worse. She's getting cheap because the man who loved her got old. That's the trade the whole market is handing you right now if you're standing there to take it. So what would I do with my own money? If I wanted the most boat for the fewest dollars and I trusted my own eyes, I'd buy the Ericson 38. Meter every deck fitting. Pay a rigger to go up the stick. And if the wire's original, that's $8,000 off the price in writing, not a reason to walk. If I meant to actually leave, the Whitby 42, and I'd buy the one whose rig receipts are already in the folder, both of them. Let the last owner pay for the education. And if I found a sound Tartan 40 at today's soft prices, I'd stop looking, because that boat isn't going to be this cheap again once this wave of sellers clears. Here's the principle under all three. In a soft market, you don't buy the badge and you don't buy the length. You buy the folder, the re-rig invoice with a date on it, the recent survey, the receipts, and you let the collapse be your discount. Every dollar the market has knocked off these boats is a dollar you get to spend on sales and self-steering instead. Which leaves exactly one thing standing between you and a very good boat for very little money, and it's the part nobody teaches. The offer. There's a right way to walk up to a nervous seller sitting on a boat that's been listed 200 days, a number that gets you a yes instead of a slammed hatch, and a way to read the silence after you say it out loud. That's the next one, and I'll take you through it line by line. Until then, don't let anybody rush you off the dock. The right 40-footer has never been cheaper. She'll still be there after you've done the math. And she'll be just as solid under you on the far side of the water as she is sitting in the rain today.